Yes, another naked man. Fuck yeah.
All the naked people. This makes me so happy.
We're at this waterfall right now, and we were debating if we should get naked, and then we did, and now everybody's getting naked.
It's actually the most beautiful thing to witness other people when we come from a world that is so uncomfortable. I have the chills. That is so uncomfortable in our own skin, and so told that their skin is not okay, and then to be, sitting here in our own skin and for other beautiful souls stripped down to their own skin without a care in the world.
Recently, me and Gina have been getting questioned about our sexuality or our relationship together because we are like, we touch each other or we will walk around naked around each other. And it's such a topic that's not talked about enough. So we figured we would shine some light on our relationship and the concept of being in your skin as you are, confident or unconfident.
And if you guys are anything like me or Haley, you spent a lot of your life and still do shaming your body and afraid to be in your own skin and afraid to even look at yourself in the mirror or put on a bathing suit or strip down in the bedroom for your lover. I went through such a time where I always had to have the lights off. Always had to have the lights off. And I think that's something really, really massive, that if you can't even be comfortable with your lover who sees you, well, not necessarily, but should see you for who you are and not care, how is that reflected in your relationship with yourself?
Even up until just last summer, a year ago, I was wearing one-piece whole bathing suits to cover up my belly, my body, because I didn't want it to be seen. I really feel it comes down to the environment we're raised in, how these expectations for the way our bodies should look, it was really affecting me because I felt like I had to have this certain type of body image, and my relationship with food was causing me and triggering me to look down upon my body. If I ate too much or ate too little, I would be so hard on my body and I would excessively work out. And it became very, very unhealthy, and I didn't even recognize who was in the mirror when I would look into the mirror.
And I feel like we're told constantly, oh, this season a big butt is in, this season abs are in, this season this is in, big eyebrows, whatever it is. And it's like, what is ever in? What is ever real? It's always something new and a trend that needs to be done. And I remember I felt so bad about my body because I thought I looked like a boy because I didn't have big boobs, and I got told so many times that my body was like a straight line, that I had no curves, and which I now have as I've begun to embrace my feminine side and embrace my womanhood. And I think that's a big factor in it. And I've really seen through research that I've done and through reflecting on my life and other clients' life and friends' life that the onset of puberty is the onset of disordered eating and over-exercising.
Yeah. Just yesterday I was with a friend of mine. He's from Ecuador, and he grabs my arm and he says, "Oh, it's chunky." And I was like, I had to sit for a second on that thought, but he didn't mean it in a negative way. That was just his way of saying, complimenting. And then he goes, wait, I would assume you have enough body confidence to understand that it wasn't coming from a bad place. So a lot of the time we take these conversations with people and we always feel like people are talking so negatively about our bodies or looking at us weird, and we assume that people are judging us, and it always comes from a deep-rooted internal place, and not enough of us look that deeply inside of us to get to the root of what is causing us to have that unhealthy relationship with food or with people or with our bodies.
And I think it's because we live in such a world that's so fast-paced and that there's so much just sensory everything going on around us. We don't ever allow ourselves the time and space to sit with why am I feeling this way? Why is this triggering me in a certain way? And I promise you, the more that you spend time just with yourself, and even if that's just 10 minutes in the morning every day, you know, it's hard. It's not easy at first, because that's when the stuff comes up that we end up hiding with food and with exercise and with drugs and alcohol and sex and all those things. And I know when I really started to sit with myself, I was able to uncover so many of the stories that triggered my beliefs right now. And remembering when I was a kid in school being told that I had thunder thighs. And that moment, I still remember so deeply, but I've let it go, you know, and it was hard to even remember really that.
Hard. We talk much like in general about relationships with ourselves and external people. And until you can heal that relationship with yourself and give yourself the love that you've been deprived, or until you can touch your body or love your body and receive that type of love from a friend or somebody you feel safe with, how do you expect a lover to do that? To give you that type of love, to give you that type of affection, if you are too self-conscious or you just feel so disconnected from your internal self? How can somebody see the true you to connect with you in that way?
We crave so much outside satisfaction. We crave a man to tell us we're beautiful. We crave our best friend to tell us we look good tonight, but we don't actually tell that to ourselves. We're seeking it outside. And, you know, we're not just saying this like criticizing everyone for doing this. We're saying it because that was us. And that's where we were. And
I feel like I'm talking to my old self. And I know Gina is too, because we talk about this constantly. Just today, before the waterfall, I was sitting outside of this dance and I was messaged Gina. I was like, I really don't think this is where I need to be right now. And she was like, sit with it and breathe with it and get back into yourself. Because sometimes we forget that the answer for what we need is really right inside of us. And we get so caught up in, like Gina was saying, in that simulation of the world around us. And to form a true relationship where you are fully seen, to answer the questions that's like the number one question we've been receiving. The answer to that question is you have to see yourself. And then you have to be open to receiving that love and that affection. And at first it's uncomfortable. First it's resistant. You resist against it. Like, me and Gina's relationship has been so rocky. And has blossomed
in the most beautiful way, you know?
It's blossomed into something so pure and genuine and equal.
Yeah.
Equal.
And I think that's what a lot of you guys are searching for, is that friendship. And I think what we see a lot is, like she said, so many people ask us about our sexuality, about our relationship, and then share that they want a love that deep and they want a friendship with someone that deep. And what does that entail? And like, when I get asked, like, what does a relationship like that entail? Like, what do you do in your friendship? Like, we just see each other and we be honest with each other and real, and we speak up when something isn't feeling right. We just see each other like into our souls and are there for each other no matter what. And it has nothing to do with being naked with each other.
No, and
that is just like how many layers we've stripped down, both separately and apart. And I feel like the deeper we dig within ourselves, the closer our friendship becomes.
Yeah. And Gina said this the other day, that we've taught each other like the true definition of unconditional love. The people in my life who have ripped me apart, not saying Gina ripped me apart, but like I've had to like learn to dance with them and accept them for exactly who they are. They taught me the true meaning of unconditional love, and I'm still learning how to love somebody wholeheartedly for exactly who they are. But you keep those people close to you, the ones who are nurturing, the ones that love you. And I feel that the way you approach every like relationship in your life, whether it's your mother, your father, your best friend, a lover, your brother, every new formed relationship into your life, you need to treat with the same respect. And maybe with a lover, it gets more intense, more like, maybe you wouldn't be walking around your dad naked, but there's boundaries. You have to respect your boundaries and understand your boundaries and communicate, like Gina said, with the person to understand, like, are you comfortable with this? Are you not comfortable with this? Is it okay if I walk around without my shirt on? Is it not okay? And then, like, when you're in the position when it feels more intimate with a lover, you voice that, and then that's how you know. That's how you know when you feel that energy, you feel that pull to be more intimate with that person.
Yeah, and that's what I love that you said, like, feeling into that energy, because energy tells everything, and it's not this like esoteric, like, woo-woo thing. Like, it's real. Like, it's so real. I mean, plants have energy, water has energy, we have energy. You know, you get a different feeling when your boss walks into the room than when maybe your mom walks into the room.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's a different energy than when you walk into a dance party as opposed to walking into a
Job
conference
offer.
room.
Yeah.
You know?
I literally agree with that.
And I think being more sensitive to the energy, but first, like, be sensitive with your own energy and get in tune with your own energy, because the more, I'm like getting eaten by ants, the more you get in tune with your own energy, the more receptive you will be to other people's energy.
Like, notice what is triggering you. Notice what truly is stimulating you to want to overeat or undereat, or what is triggering you to look into the mirror and be so mean to yourself. Is it truly something within you, or is there something deeper that you need to, like, dig up? Or is it an external source, an external energy? We often meet people in this life and we have this expectation of how they should show up for us when we can barely show up for ourselves.
And it's like, you know, we set so many expectations, and expectations pretty much always lead to disappointment. And it's not, I don't want to say not to not set expectations, but, like, more so, like, worry about yourself first, you know what I mean? And like Haley said, like, people have trouble showing up for their own selves. How do you expect them to show up for you in that way? And
yeah, imagine if you took just a little bit of time in this life to be a bit selfish, to get to know yourself, to get to know who you are as a whole person, and to do that work we all talk about. Not many of us are actually doing it.
No, and I think that's the most beautiful, challenging growth journey you could possibly go on, is be with yourself. And personally, for me, I have not been in a relationship, I have not been sexual with anyone in about 2 years, and that is really huge for me. And
we bond over that.
Our story is so parallel, and, like, I truly believe that I have now called in a lover into my life because I have done the work and he has done the work, and I know myself. And I mean, we're always growing constantly, every single day. The work is never done, but there's a lot to be done on your own before you can really even, you know, you really have to know yourself before you
allow somebody else into your space.
It's so hard and so beautiful.
Yeah, I think about that quite often. How we don't take that time or that space, me too. How we don't take that time or that space to truly get to know ourselves. And it's a shame, because there's something so beautiful inside of you that you're suppressing, and only you can hear those negative thoughts. Only you are being affected by hiding in the closet your eating disorder. Only you are being affected by hiding behind your stress, your anxiety, or living within the comfort of these boundaries that were placed around you by society.
And these stories, like she said, these boundaries, these stories that we tell ourselves, we are all living in our own story. Every single one of us is living in our own world and living in our own story. But what is it going to take for you to see your blind spots, for you to seek out someone to help you find your blind spots, and also to just really sit with yourself, and sit with yourself, and sit with yourself, and sit with yourself, as hard as it may be? A beautiful person said to me last night, just put your hand on your heart and breathe into the space that doesn't feel okay, that feels afraid, that feels upset, and settle in. And when he said, and settle in there and feel it, those words just, I felt that, like, settle into your discomfort, settle into your pain, settle in to the negative things that you're thinking about yourself. And once you settle in there, you can question them. You can see where they're stemming from and what they're coming from. And then you can take the action to move forward and choose to not believe that story.
I was at this waterfall that me and Gina are at right now this morning. I left and met up with her, and then we came back. And I was sitting there with a friend, and I was looking at the waterfall, and I just imagined myself on those days where I felt like I was falling and I was resisting, but then I kept going because it's just like a waterfall. just like a waterfall, it goes down and it doesn't resist. It keeps getting carried. You're always going to keep moving and flowing, but if you cause resistance or you act against it, then it's gonna hurt. At some point you have to surrender.
Yeah, surrender and trust. Surrender and trust.
On that note,
yes, I
we
love
just
you.
had some durian delivered.
And we love you. What an angel. We love you.
We love you. I love you.
I love you.
One form of advice.
Stare at yourself in the mirror every single day.
And let go of expectations.
That durian smells amazing.
Bye.